John Walmsley as Jason Walton. John Walmsley brought Jason Walton to life with calm strength and musical soul. The second oldest son, Jason carried family burdens with quiet grace. Whether serving in the military, taking over family duties, or simply playing piano at the end of a long day, he was the steady rhythm behind the drama, always dependable, always present. If John-Boy wrote the story, Jason gave it its soundtrack. Love characters who lead with their heart and hands? Like, subscribe, and let Jason's music live on. Mary Beth McDonough as Erin Walton. Mary Beth McDonough portrayed Erin Walton with charm and grit, the middle child who blossomed from a shy girl to a confident, determined woman. Erin navigated heartbreak, ambition, and the pressures of being overlooked, but she found her voice and claimed her worth. From high school crushes to hard-earned promotions, her journey was one of finding strength without losing softness. She was beauty with backbone, always evolving, cheering for those who carve their own path. Like, subscribe, and grow with Erin Walton. Eric Scott as Ben Walton. Eric Scott made Ben Walton the embodiment of hustle and heart. As the third son, Ben was scrappy, clever, and never afraid to speak his mind. From building things with his hands to building dreams in his head, he chased opportunity with unmatched energy, sometimes stumbling, always learning. He was the classic middle brother, ready to prove himself, ready to lead. Appreciate those who grind, grow, and never quit. Like, subscribe, and build alongside Ben Walton. Cami Codler as Elizabeth Walton. Cami Codler portrayed Elizabeth Walton with pure, irresistible charm. The youngest Walton, Elizabeth brought innocence, wonder, and emotional depth to every scene. We watched her grow from playful mischief to teenage maturity, asking questions no one else would and feeling everything a little more deeply. She reminded us that childhood shapes everything, and that little voices often hold the biggest truths. Miss the magic of growing up on Walton's Mountain? Like, subscribe, and rediscover it with Elizabeth. Judy Norton as Mary Ellen Walton. Judy Norton gave Mary Ellen Walton fierce energy and emotional range. As the oldest daughter, she carried the weight of expectations and shattered them. Mary Ellen became a nurse, a war widow, a mother, and a survivor. She didn't just endure pain, she transformed it into purpose. She was bold, fearless, and always fighting for something greater than herself. Drawn to fierce women who rise no matter what. Like, subscribe, and walk with Mary Ellen Walton. David W. Harper as Jim Bob Walton. David W. Harper played Jim Bob Walton, the dreamer, the tinkerer, the little brother with big ideas. He was fascinated by machines, aviation, and life beyond the mountain. Often misunderstood, but deeply imaginative, Jim Bob brought humor, mischief, and ambition to the family table. In a world of plows and prayers, he wanted engines and sky. Love a rebel mind with a good heart? Like, subscribe, and take flight with Jim Bob Walton. Richard Thomas as John-Boy Walton. Richard Thomas turned John-Boy into the soul of the Waltons, the aspiring writer who saw meaning in every moment. He captured the voices of his family, the pain of the depression, and the promise of tomorrow. Through war, loss, and success, John-Boy never lost his purpose, to tell the truth. He wasn't just a narrator. He was a witness, a guide, and a brother. Believe in the power of stories to heal and remember? Like, subscribe, and follow John-Boy's legacy. Michael Learned as Olivia Walton. Michael Learned embodied Olivia Walton, the spiritual and emotional center of the family. She prayed with conviction, disciplined with love, and held her children together with invisible threads of strength. Through illness, heartbreak, and uncertainty, she remained unshaken. Olivia was the heart of the mountain, tender but mighty, inspired by women who hold the world together in silence. Like, subscribe, and honor Olivia Walton's strength. Ralph Waite as John Walton Sr. Ralph Waite was the backbone of the Waltons as John Walton Sr., the hard-working father who led with his hands and loved with his whole heart. He wasn't a man of many words, but every one of them mattered. Whether it was building in the sawmill or guiding his children through life storms, he stood firm, tough yet tender. John Sr. was the kind of father every home needs. Admire men who work hard, stay strong, and love deeply? Like, subscribe, and walk with John Walton Sr. Ellen Corby as Esther Grandma Walton. Ellen Corby gave Grandma Walton a fire all her own, a devout woman rooted in faith, discipline, and deep love. She could be stern with her cane or fierce in prayer, but behind her quiet gaze was a soul full of history, heartache, and resilience. She was the family's moral compass, and her silence often spoke louder than words. Honor grandmothers who guard the soul of a family? Like, subscribe, and sit beside Grandma Walton. Willard as Zebulon Grandpa Walton. Willard turned Grandpa Walton into the soul of Walton's Mountain, full of stories, songs, laughter, and mischief. He danced with life, loved his Esther fiercely, and showed his grandkids how to live with joy, wisdom, and wonder. He wasn't just a grandpa. He was the spirit of the mountain itself. Love old souls with young hearts? Like, subscribe, and smile with Grandpa Walton again. Earl Hamner Jr. as the narrator/older John-Boy. Earl Hamner Jr. was the real John-Boy, the voice that narrated each episode with warmth, reflection, and poetic truth. His words turned memories into meaning and made every quiet moment feel eternal. He gave the series its heart, because behind every Walton story was Earl's own. Believe in the power of memory and voice? Like, subscribe, and keep Earl Hamner's stories alive. Joe Conley as Ike Godsey. Joe Conley brought charm and cheer to Ike Godsey, the friendly storekeeper, town gossip, and all-around good neighbor. With a smile behind the counter and a soft spot for Corabeth, Ike kept the community going. He was part businessman, part buddy, and always the guy with the latest news. Miss those small-town shopkeepers who knew your name? Like, subscribe, and visit Ike's store again. Ronnie Claire Edwards as Corabeth Godsey. Ronnie Claire Edwards made Corabeth unforgettable, proper, proud, and full of dramatic flair. With her powdered nose and sharp tongue, she brought comedy and complexity to every scene. But beneath that social ambition was a woman longing to belong. Corabeth was the class and the clash of small-town life. Love characters who stir the pot with style? Like, subscribe, and sip tea with Corabeth Godsey. Mary Jackson as Miss Emily Baldwin. Mary Jackson gave us Miss Emily Baldwin, the gentler half of the Baldwin sisters, still daydreaming about lost love and living in sweet denial. With lace gloves and soft-spoken grace, she represented innocence untouched by time. She reminded us that hearts never really grow old. Feel nostalgic for quiet days and hopeful hearts? Like, subscribe, and call on Miss Emily. Helen Klebe as Miss Mamie Baldwin. Helen Klebe portrayed Miss Mamie Baldwin, the bold, confident sister with a secret recipe for the recipe. Proud of her family name and fiercely loyal to tradition, she kept their legacy alive in every glass and every gesture. She was elegance, mischief, and memory in motion. Love eccentric ladies with history in their veins? Like, subscribe, and raise a toast with Miss Mamie. Leslie Winston as Cindy Walton. Leslie Winston played Cindy Walton, Ben's spirited and stylish wife who brought new energy into the Walton household. With grace, charm, and a modern sensibility, Cindy bridged old traditions with new possibilities. She embraced motherhood, proved her strength, and earned her place in the family with love and resilience. She was a breath of fresh air on the mountain. Love characters who grow into strong roots? Like, subscribe, and remember Cindy Walton. John Crawford as Sheriff E.P. Bridges. John Crawford gave heart and integrity to Sheriff E.P. Bridges, the quiet lawman who knew everyone's name and solved problems with compassion. He wasn't just the sheriff. He was a family friend, a loyal neighbor, and a trusted presence through peace and pain. E.P. stood for justice, but he led with kindness. Respect those who serve with strength and heart? Like, subscribe, and salute Sheriff Bridges. Peggy Ray as Rose Burton. Peggy Ray stepped in as Rose Burton, the warm, no-nonsense cousin who helped raise the Walton household when Olivia was away. Rose brought hearty meals, hard truths, and a motherly presence to the mountain. With humor and heart, she held the family together during tough transitions. She was big love with a bigger spirit. Believe that family is who shows up? Like, subscribe, and celebrate Rose Burton. Tom Bower as Dr. Curtis Willard. Tom Bower played Dr. Curtis Willard, Mary Ellen's husband, the dedicated doctor who served his family and his country. His love for Mary Ellen was deep, but life tested them with war, separation, and loss. Curtis was brave, flawed, and unforgettable. He represented both the cost and courage of sacrifice. Moved by stories of love tested by time? Like, subscribe, and remember Dr. Willard. Nora Marlowe as Flossy Brimmer. Nora Marlowe gave us Flossy Brimmer, the vibrant boarding house owner with a big voice and a bigger heart. She knew everyone's business and kept a watchful eye on her neighbors with wit and warmth. Flossie added color and comfort to Walton's Mountain. Enjoy classic characters who bring laughter and loyalty? Like, subscribe, and visit Flossy Brimmer's again. Robert Donner as Yancy Tucker. Robert Donner made Yancy Tucker a scene stealer, the mountain's lovable rogue and handyman with a muddy beard and a golden heart. Whether chasing chickens or fixing fences, Yancy added humor, humanity, and down-home charm to every scene. He was mischief wrapped in loyalty. Love the eccentric neighbor who always means well? Like, subscribe, and ride along with Yancy Tucker. Martha Nix as Serena Burton. Martha Nix played Serena Burton, Rose's sweet granddaughter who brought youth and curiosity to the Walton home. She navigated new routines, unfamiliar siblings, and growing up under mountain skies. Serena reminded us what it means to be welcomed, accepted, and loved. Believe in the power of family to heal? Like, subscribe, and grow up with Serena Burton. Marshall Reed as Colonel Coleman. Marshall Reed brought quiet dignity to Colonel Coleman, a military man shaped by duty and discipline. He represented authority with compassion and the silent strength of leadership. His appearances added depth and weight to stories of service, honor, and sacrifice. Colonel Coleman was a figure of respect in every frame. Salute those who lead with quiet courage. Like, subscribe, and honor Colonel Coleman's legacy.